I've been very steadfast in my starting five. Kyan Evans, Seth Trimble, Luka Bogavac, Caleb Wilson, Henri Veesaar. It's time to find out if the man Anthony Pagnotta agrees.
This is Tyler Zeller, and you're listening to Locked On Tar Heels.
You are Locked On Tar Heels, your daily podcast on the UNC Tar Heels. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey there, what's up? It's Friday, August 29th, 2025. We are three mere days away from the Bill Belichick era starting in Chapel Hill. Welcome into the Locked On Tar Heels podcast, the only daily North Carolina show out there. I'm your host, Isaac Shipp. You're joining me at the place to get your Tar Heels content every single day. It's all part of the Locked On Podcast Network. I want to thank you for making us your first listener watch to get your weekend, your Labor Day weekend going the right way. This episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Special shout out to all the everydayers with us, all the great members of the Locked On Tar Heels Discord. You want to come hang out in there because it's going to be crazy this weekend leading up and, of course, on Monday night. And if you want to go next level with the show, join the Locked On Tar Heels Insider Program as well. Coming up on the show today, earlier this week, Isaac Trotter from CBS Sports put out his projected starting five for North Carolina. It just so happens to line up with mine. So I want to talk to Pagnotta to ask if he agrees with it or not. And then it's time for the TCU preview. We'll talk more about it on Monday's show as well, but I wanted to get a head start on it on Friday so we could think about it going into our Labor Day weekend. Going to be a lot of fun. I've already referenced it twice now, but the man is here. Pags Anthony Pagnotta at HTB Anthony on the Twitter machine, the host of Heel Tough podcast, writes all these great articles for Heel Tough blog, man. Great stuff. You can always go follow he and Marlo, our buddy, and everything they're doing over there. It's such great content. If you're not following it, you're missing out, man. I'm just going to keep saying it till I'm blue in the face. And he's here. Let's get after it. Pags, great to be with you, buddy. Any big Labor Day plans?
Yeah. I mean, headed up to Kenan Stadium to take in the Tar Heels game against the TCU Horned Frogs. That'll be after a day of work because we got to recap the first weekend of college football. So it's going to be an amazing turnaround there, going from working to up in Chapel Hill to back to the job, more than likely sleeping at the job that night and then waking up the next morning to work again. So it's going to be a crazy weekend, but we're locked in. We're ready to go. We're excited for what should be an amazing game against TCU.
And all of that is exactly why I wanted to ask you, because I knew your schedule is absolutely bonkers. So we're going to get to our preview here in just a second. But Pagnotta, I've been sitting on this one throughout the week and wanted to use it on Friday. And so I was so glad we were talking, because I don't think I've talked to you much about the basketball personnel and roster this summer. And so this was kind of perfect. So CBS has been putting out a bunch of their offseason content. Isaac Trotter is one of their national writers, and he did kind of his Carolina write-up earlier this week, including his projected starting five. Pagnotta, he's got Kyan Evans at the 1, Trimble at the 2, Luka Bogavac, and now we know that is indeed the correct pronunciation because the roster guide came out this week at the 3, Caleb Wilson at the 4, and Henri Veesaar at the 5. Pagnotta, I'll go ahead and say right off the top, this is what I've been advocating for and what I think it should be, assuming everyone does all the things they should do. I want to ask you, though, is this where you're at, or do you have a different starting lineup?
This is exactly where I'm at. I saw you send this to me that this was what we were going to be talking about, and I said, tell you what, Isaac Trotter knows exactly what he's talking about because he absolutely nailed it. I think Kyan Evans very clearly the starting point guard for this team. I know, some of the scrimmage stats and stuff like that maybe turn some people off, but he's going to be the starting point guard for this crew. I think he's going to be really good. I think, if he's given the time, it might not be a fast start for him out of the gate. It wasn't a fast start for him last year at Colorado State.
Right.
But once he got it settled in and once they got to the crucial time of the season down the stretch, he was really playing out of his mind. So I think he's going to be the starter there. Love Seth Trimble at the 2. I think that makes a lot of sense, playing him off ball. We've seen him be successful there. I think hopefully this year you'll see him sort of step up as a scorer and become one of, if not the top scorer on this team. Luka Bogavac, once you get him cleared by the NCAA, there's no question. I mean, you saw that video that the basketball account put up the other day. The dude has moves, but he is a very talented scorer. He can score it at all three levels of the floor. You got to have him in the starting lineup. Caleb Wilson's just playing way too well to not have him out there in the starting lineup. Every time that we see him out there on the court in these practice highlights, he's doing something. He's dunking over somebody. He's getting back in transition, making plays. He is the most complete player on this roster, so he deserves to be in there. And then you went out and got Henri Veesaar for a reason. I think he's going to be a force in the middle for Carolina. So I love this starting lineup. I think this is the perfect one from Isaac Trotter.
It's so neat to me how the different parts of this five unlock each other, right? Like I was worried about Seth starting going into the offseason because I was wondering if there would be enough shooting. But now that you've got Kyan Evans and Luka Bogavac as bookends for him, knowing also that Wilson and Veesaar can step out, it's like that unlocks Seth's athleticism, allows him to do everything he's going to do. And honestly, I think he will get back to some of that shooting we had seen pre-injury last year where he was shooting really well from beyond the arc. I like what the other guys do to unlock Kyan Evans to where, we talked about it on yesterday's show, where Nick Clifford was the leading assist man at Colorado State with Evans right behind him. And if Bogavac and Trimble can take some of that playmaking load off of him, all of that you said, man, spot on with it. Let me ask you this, Pagnotta. If for some reason the NCAA either doesn't clear Luka or doesn't clear him in time for the beginning of the season on November 3rd, which, come on, NCAA, man, get that done. First off, that's what we need to say. But in a world where that doesn't happen, who would you slot in at the 3 in his place?
I would probably go with Jonathan Powell. I think that's probably the guy you look at because you look at how much he played last year. You look at what he brings to the table, really good three-point shooter. I think that's something that Carolina needs in their starting lineup. Luka can bring that if he's out there, but, Jonathan Powell can certainly bring that as well. And then defensively, I just think he's a really solid defender. I don't think Powell's going to do anything that wows you on the defensive end of the floor, but he's just where he needs to be. He's a smart player. So to me, that would be who I would have to go with there. I know Jarin Stevenson is probably the other guy that people look at, but man, that would be a really big lineup. I don't know if you're necessarily playing Stevenson at the 3. If you're not, that means you're moving Caleb Wilson there, and I like Caleb Wilson's back to the basket game a little too much to take him out of that 4 spot.
That's great assessment there, Pagnotta. I love that. And for what it's worth, I'm with you. I think I almost said Pagnotta. That's you. Hello, Jonathan Powell and Jarin Stevenson, I think are the next, that is the main 7 to me. That feels pretty locked in. And yeah, it's like Stevenson obviously played the 3 a good bit at Alabama, but I feel like he's probably the first off the bench at either the 4 or the 5, just depending on what you want to do rotationally. So Pagnotta, it feels like you're with me on that top 7. Who would be your 8th? Because that's kind of been the Hubert Davis size rotation that he likes to roll with is really a good top 8. So outside of those guys, is it Derek Dixon? Is it Isaiah Dennis? Where would you go next?
It's going to be the guy that's probably not the sexiest of the group, and that's Jaden Young, because he comes over from Virginia Tech. You saw another guy that really finished the season strong last year. Now, there was a lot of responsibility that was put on his plate. He was a guy that shot it at a high volume. At Carolina, I think he's going to be expected to shoot it a little bit less, and that may actually allow him to be more efficient. So that would be my 8th guy right there. But I think this team could go 9 or 10 deep. I really do, because I like Dixon. I like Dennis a lot. I think this group, this backcourt is as deep as it's been in a while, and I think this front court is really as deep as it's been in a while as well.
Yes, I'm right with you. I hope that these guys force Coach Davis's hand, right? And he'll do it, right? If you force his hand, he will do it. All right, last thing, Pagnotta, and then we'll move on to football. We so often talk about starting 5, and that's how we began this conversation. I want to bookend it by saying, would you have the same closing 5 right now? And I know some of that is contextually dependent. It's game script dependent. It's foul trouble dependent, all of that. I hear that. But in a vacuum, would this be your same closing 5, or would you insert someone else there?
Yeah, ideally, I would probably have this as my closing five. I mean, I think we have to see what it looks like going into the season. And look, if Seth Trimble is a guy that really is playing that well on the ball, because we're going to see him there, folks. It's going to happen this year. They are going to have to play him on the ball some. If that really is the best thing for this offense, then yeah, maybe you get to that point where you say at a certain point, okay, yeah, we have to roll him out there at that one spot and then find somebody else at that two guard. But I think ultimately Kyan Evans is going to step up and play a big role for this team. I really do think that the shooting prowess that he brings to that point guard spot is really going to shine through for Carolina. I think he's going to be able to share the ball at a pretty high rate. So I think this is going to be the closing five for Carolina as well. This is the five that they're going to want on the floor in crucial moments. And I think it's going to be one that's going to lead Carolina to a lot of success.
Ooh, I agree with you. And if Seth Trimble, speaking of in closing time, if he can shoot 80% from the free throw line again this year, where he was 82 last year, then you got three dudes in your backcourt that are all 80+%. And that's, I mean, goodness, in closing time, that's great because you can get anybody the ball and you feel good about it. All right, here we go. Anthony Pagnotta, the Bill Belichick era kicks off. In just 3 days, you're going to be at Kenan Stadium. He finally named QB1 earlier this week. It's Gio Lopez. How's he going to do leading the offense in game one? We'll talk about it in just a second. Right after I tell you about Game Time, college football is back, baby. I could not be more excited. Tailgates, the rivalries, the energy in the stands. There's nothing like it. Pagnotta is nodding in agreement, I know. But let's be real. Actually, getting tickets can feel more like a battle than the actual game itself. Endless lines, hidden fees, prices jumping at checkout. You don't want that. And that's why you should use Game Time. It's the app that actually gives the advantage back to you, the fans. It's the easiest way to score last-minute tickets at the best prices with no surprise fees. What you see is what you pay. Man, I've used Game Time multiple times now, and it's so helpful. It's so good. It's so easy to get. Everything works. You don't have to doubt it. It's faster, it's cheaper, and less stressful than anything else I've done. Carolina hosting TCU Monday night. We're about to talk about it. The cheapest right now as I record that I've found is $85. That's section 210 row L. But if you want to use Game Time zone deals, you can get in for cheaper. It's like 60-something bucks. Check that out. Take the guesswork out of buying football tickets with Game Time. Download the app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first order. Again, that's promo code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off. Terms apply. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. Download Game Time today. Oh, it's time to talk Carolina football game one. And as we do so, I got an important request for you from Locked On. We want to hear from you. We've put together a survey to learn more about our listeners, our viewers, and make your favorite podcasts like this one even better. It's your chance to tell us what you like, what you don't like, and answer questions about our advertising. Go to lockedonpodcast.com/survey to get started. Everyone who completes a survey will be entered for a chance to win one of 10 $100 Amazon gift cards. Again, that's lockedonpodcast.com/survey. For those of you watching on YouTube, you can scan the QR code that's down there on the bottom of the screen. You can also find the link in the show notes. Thank you so much for helping us out. All right, Pagnotta, here we go. First game of the Bill Belichick era. It is a standalone game. Literally the only FBS game played on Labor Day. TCU coming to Kenan, 8 p.m. Eastern on ESPN. First off, Pags, you're going to be there. What do you expect from this, just the scene, the spectacle of it all on Monday? How crazy is this going to be?
I think it's going to be off the chain. I think, honestly, this is going to be one of the greatest environments that we've ever seen inside of Kenan Stadium because there's so much excitement that finally there is investment into the football program, that they are going out of their way to make sure that this is going to be something special in Chapel Hill. So I expect it to be a wild, wild environment. I think Tar Heel fans are going to be fired up for this game. Even though it's a Monday night, in years past, if it was a midweek game, I would say, yeah, I don't know about that. But I think this Tar Heel fan base is going to be pumped up. As you said, we're making the drive up from Charlotte to Kenan, going to the game and then having to drive back. So, I mean, yeah, it's going to be crazy. We're going to be doing our part, and I'm hoping Tar Heel fans are going to be loud. That's the thing. It's one thing to be there, but it's another thing to be loud. So be loud for your football team.
And it's going to be great. Okay, on Wednesday, Coach Belichick officially named Gio Lopez QB1. We kind of all expected it, as you so well said in your article, quote, all intel from around camp had been pointing to it happening, end quote. And absolutely, it did. For you, Anthony Pagnotta, A, is this the right choice? And then B, what will Gio Lopez bring to a essentially wildly unknown offensive unit?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think it's definitely the right choice. There's no doubt in my mind that he was the better choice over a guy like Max Johnson, who was, the guy that was in the quarterback battle with him. And there was no Bryce Baker in this battle. Once Gio Lopez came in, it was down to two guys. They wanted to see maybe what Max Johnson had. The other thing is they probably wanted to give Max a chance because he had fought back from everything that he had dealt with the leg injury. So now you've got a guy that's coming in here that I think is going to be able to take the next step after coming from the group of five level.
Okay.
You look at last year for him. I mean, really solid across the board, really solid completion percentage, threw for 2,559 yards, 18 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, ran the ball for 463 yards and 7 touchdowns. So I think he's certainly going to bring a dynamic quarterback back to Carolina. And I was listening to Jones Angel today. He was on with WFNZ, the station that I work for in Charlotte. And he said he reminds me a lot of Darian Durant. And that should be someone that really excites Tar Heel fans, because Darian Durant was a really, really good quarterback. He was just stuck on some really tough, some really bad teams around him. I think this is going to be a guy that isn't necessarily going to be in the same situation as Darian Durant, but could put up similar numbers if you give him some time to settle in at this level.
And as you also said in your article, which I thought was such a great point, you ain't paying this dude $4 million to come in and hold a clipboard, right? And so that is the new normal in college athletics. Now, speaking of quarterbacks, just really quick, man, thoughts and prayers from both of us to Travis Burgess, who suffered an ACL. Obviously, he's Carolina's big-time quarterback commit in the 26 class and just suffered an ACL injury. And so, man, we're thinking of Travis as he works quickly to come back. Now, Pagnotta, each of, I would essentially say in Mac Brown 2.0 era, there was just an entity that you knew you could rely on essentially year in and year out. Be it Omarion Hampton last year, Drake May before him, Josh Downs, Sam Howell, whoever it was. And maybe that's Gio Lopez this year. But what I mean is, coming into the year, there's not that already known and proven entity at Carolina that we can expect. Omarion Hampton, obviously the bell cow that's gone from last year. So who to you are those offensive weapons to watch for Monday night?
Well, I think it's very clearly Davian Goss is the first guy that you go to, because you go back to last year's game against Charlotte where he had to come in for Omarion Hampton. I mean, he only ran for 105 yards, a touchdown, and hurdled a man. So, I mean, what more could you really want from him? I mean, I think he's going to be a guy to really watch. Also, keep an eye on Benjamin Hall in the backfield, the transfer from Michigan. There's been a lot of buzz around him that he has had a great fall camp and that this staff really loves him. And then at the receiver spots, I'm keeping an eye on Jordan Shipp. He's a guy that I saw firsthand a lot here in the QC when we were out there watching some high school football. And this dude, he is ready for the big stage. I think last year, he was sort of settling in, had 9 catches, 114 yards and a touchdown. This year is his year to break out, and we've seen he's become a leader for this team. There's a reason why he was on the stand talking to the media in June. There's a reason why he was on the stand talking to media at ACC kickoff. It's because he's trusted by the staff. This guy is going to have a breakout season. I guarantee it. We do our breakout players every year. That's the guy that I'm telling you, he will have a breakout year. No questions asked. I think he's a guy that could get to 1,000 yards receiving this season. So keep an eye on him. And then if you're looking for a guy that's a little bit of a sleeper, maybe that we're not talking about a ton going into the game, but that could show up, keep an eye on Alex Taylor. He's another receiver I really like. And from all indications, he's had a pretty good fall camp as well. So don't forget that name either.
Pagnotta, obviously a lot of that conversation we've just had, and understandably so, is the position, the skills guys. But none of them matter if the offensive line can't keep Gio Lopez up and healthy and give Davion Goss, Bullett Goss room to run. Where are you at on the offensive line? Obviously, a whole bunch of new in and out and moving around. How are you feeling about that unit?
I'm nervous, Isaac. I'm not going to lie to you, because the group that they're rolling out, we are looking at Aiden Buchanan, more than likely starting at left tackle. That's a true freshman. That's also a true freshman that was a summer enrollee. So he has not been here for long. He has only practiced with the team for a month. Ja'Kai Moore, transfer in the spring portal window, coming over from South Carolina. Again, has not been with the team long, just started practicing with them a month ago. Those are your two tackles. Then you go to the middle. You've lost Austin Blasky to injury already. Right. He's going to be out for 4 weeks. And then you potentially won't have Christo Kelly in this game because he's dealing with an injury that has kept him out for the last couple of weeks. So we have no idea what this offensive line really looks like going in. I really hope Christo Kelly can play, because if he can, then I feel like you're going to be able to run the ball inside the tackles. I like Christo Kelly at center. I like Daniel King at left guard. And I like Aiden Banfield at right guard. I know that Banfield had his moments where he was up and down last year, but I trust that group. When you go out to the tackle spots, I'm just concerned about what it looks like out there. Buchanan was a really good run blocker in high school, but does that translate to this level? And what's he going to be able to do pass protection wise? And Ja'Kai Moore, it's just about being better than the last time we saw you, because the statistics, the last time that we saw you, the grades from Pro Football Focus were not pretty, my guy. We need them to be better. So hopefully those guys can hold up. That offensive line, it's the thing I'm most concerned about going into Monday night.
Okay, and I share that sentiment with you, Pagnotta. Unfortunately, I wish I didn't, but I do. So there's a primer for you on what to be watching for Monday night on the offensive side of the ball. But what about when TCU has it? How's the Carolina D going to stack up? If it's anything like the last couple of years, could be a long night. Pagnotta, have they taken steps forward? We'll talk about it in just a second. Right after I tell you about Upside. Hey, Tar Heels fans, are you still paying full price for gas? And if so, why? Stop leaving money behind. Get real cash back every time you fill up with the free Upside app. You just download the app in the App Store or Google Play Store and start earning cash at the pump today. Use my limited time promo code FOOTBALL and get an extra 25 cents back per gallon on your first fill up. You can make up to $300 a year just from buying gas that you already needed anyway. At first, before I had ever used it, I was like, really? Does that work? And then I was like, hey, we're promoting it with Locked On, so I want to check it out to see if it's real. And I did, and I've literally been using it ever since, multiple years ago. It's great. I fill up at the pump. I've shared my referral code with other people, and I get a little bit of the money from when they fill. It's awesome. Upside is so great. I even cashed in some money this summer to help offset some of a family vacation we were taking. It's great. You should check it out too. Don't let this offer drive on by. Download the free Upside app now using my limited time promo code FOOTBALL for a limited time 25 cent per gallon bonus. That's promo code FOOTBALL. Disclaimer, offers vary by user and location. Go to upside.com for terms and conditions. Pagnotta, let's flip the script. Let's look at the Carolina defense. Look, we know this unit for the last several years has been, you got to outscore whoever you're playing to win. Nothing resembles that more than that App State game that was so crazy a couple years ago down in Boone. Good grief. Anyway, the Carolina defense, what unit in it, being like the linebackers, the secondary, or what individual perhaps are you most confident in ahead of the season?
Oh, it's the defensive backfield. There's no doubt about it. To me, you look at that Dixon, I think that's, I mean, if you're talking about confidence, that's a guy that has as much as anybody on this team. But I love him back there. I like Marcus Allen being opposite of him. I think could be another step forward this year. More consistency from Marcus Allen, just, not allowing those big plays down the field. If he can do that, then I think he's going to have a successful season. I like Will Hardy at safety. I really think he's taken on a leadership role. And I love Gavin Gibson. I would play him in the nickel, but I know there are some people that believe he might play at the strong safety spot. Yeah. Either way, I like what he brings to the table. So I think that unit, to me, very clearly is the one that you trust the most for this group. And the other thing is, depth-wise, mean, you've got some depth at that position. I mean, the safety spot, you've got guys like Coleman Bryson, who's been there for, or who was at Minnesota for a while, has that experience of playing on that side of the ball and being successful. You've got some other talented guys like Malcolm Ziegler, Peyton Waters, who comes over from Washington. And then at corner, you've got Ty Adams, who was there last year, was hit and miss at times, but, you're hoping that you can gain a little more consistency. So I like the talent there, and I like the depth there, which I think gives them an advantage over some of these other units.
I love that. Now, Pagnotta, as you sit there in Kenan Stadium on Monday night and the defense walks out, what about the other side of it? What part of the defense, or if we have to single out an individual, we can, are you kind of shaking in your boots about? Because you're like, I don't trust that part of the defense.
Yeah, I won't single out an individual. I really just think it's the defensive line as a whole. I like Price Yates. I really do. But is he a guy that's going to be able to wreck shop in this first game of the season? I think as the year goes along, you could see him develop into a pretty consistent force for Carolina there along the defensive line. But there's going to be a lot on his shoulders in this game. What about Smith Vilbert? He's a guy that's been waiting for his opportunity coming over from Penn State. But is he a guy that breaks out in this first game and all of a sudden has this big performance? I'd love to see it, but I'm not sure. The bigger concern, though, is on the interior, because the guys on the edges, we've heard that they've done a pretty good job in the fall camp. It's now about the interior of that defensive line. Guys like DeAndre Robinson, CJ Mims also on the interior there, Isaiah Johnson. Are these guys that are able to win on the interior, win their one-on-one matchups, and be able to slow down that run game of TCU and be able to get some quarterback pressures from that position? If you can do that, then I think Carolina has a chance to be successful. The one thing that is good, this is not a good running team for TCU. Last year, they averaged just 113.9 yards per game rushing the football. That's one of the lowest in the country. So Carolina has a chance, you would think, against this TCU team to have some success up front.
With that said, obviously Josh Hoover comes in, a lot of, success, experience, all that. They won 6 of their last 7 last year. TCU did. Sonny Dykes, obviously a phenomenal football coach. Like, Pags, are you saying to me, assuming that the run game is still going to be a little bit weaker, sell out to stopping Josh Hoover and make them beat you on the ground? Is that what you're saying? Or is it, since the ground game is kind of weak already, really dial in there? Like, obviously we know Bill Belichick historically is known for, I'm going to find a weak, or I'm going to cut off your strongest thing and make you beat me somewhere else, right? Like, we saw that all the time with the Patriots. What do you expect them to try to do to Josh Hoover?
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing is they're going to have to get pressure on him, because this was a guy that you look at what he did last year when he was under pressure and when he was kept clean 75% of the time. And when he did that, he completed 70% of his passes for 3,226 yards, 18 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. Under pressure, just 25% of the time, only 127 dropbacks last year, which shows you how good they were in pass protection. 48.5% completion percentage, 726 yards, 9 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. So it's just about being able to get that pressure on him, make him uncomfortable, because if you can do that, you can force him into mistakes. He was one of the more turnover-prone quarterbacks in the country last year. So if I'm them, that's what I'm trying to do, turning up the pressure a little bit. But the thing is that, believe it or not, when he was blitzed last year, he actually was really good against the blitz, had a 13-4 touchdown to interception ratio. So what it means is you have to be able to win your one-on-one matchups up front. It is crucial that guys like Price Yates, Smith Vilbert, and some of those guys on the interior are able to win those one-on-one matchups when they're out there on Monday night.
All right, so there's a key from Pagnotta to be watching for in the trenches. Watch those one-on-one matchups. Now, Pags, here's the other thing, particularly in the portal era. Michael Lombardi was on Pat McAfee on Thursday, and he said this, quote, "You know the history of TCU, you know what they did in their games last year, but you just don't know what they've added and how they changed their team, and that's always a little bit concerning," end quote. Pags, is this where you're elated that Bill Belichick is your coach, right? you know that he's going to be assessing in the first quarter. He's going to be trying to figure out what do we got to do. And it's not just he's got game plan A, he's got 1, 2, 3, and then 87 in his back pocket, right? Like, is that a comfort to you in game one? Or is it like, yes, I know the Bill Belichick teams are known for their details, but it's just not been enough time to get to that depth of detail necessary to succeed at that level?
It's a little bit of both, to be honest with you. I mean, I know that's probably not the answer that you're looking for, but I mean, the thing is that, look, you've got a guy that I think in game is going to be able to adjust about as well as anybody because he's been doing it for so many years at such a high level. I do wonder, though, has there been enough time for him to be able to adjust with the players that he has out there? Is there enough talent that's going to be on the field for Carolina in this first game? Are these guys really playing at their best? Because, I mean, yeah, they haven't been together that long. That's the thing. This is a group that just came together back at the start of fall camp. I mean, you've got guys even on the defensive side of the ball like Andrew Simpson where, yeah, it's going to take those guys time to sort of adjust to their teammates out there. So I think that's going to be really interesting to monitor is how quickly does it seem like these guys are adjusting to each other out there on the field. But I mean, there is a lot, there is more hope than there was in years past because we knew that was the one thing about Mac Brown. And I think some of us at times tried to put that out of our mind and say, you know what? Mac's going to find a way to get it done. His coaching staff is going to find a way to get it done, even though he's not necessarily the greatest in-game coach. But I think now you've got arguably the greatest in-game coach ever. And he's also recruiting at an incredibly high level. So, yeah, this is going to be very exciting to watch as the game goes along. And hopefully we can see those adjustments being made by Bill Belichick.
All right, Pags. FanDuel has it TCU -3.5. What you doing in this game?
I'm taking TCU in the points, man. I hate to do it, but I think with all the inexperience, we're talking about 70 new players for Carolina. That's a lot of new guys. And as I said, they went out and got a lot of guys in that spring portal window that are going to be contributors here. I'm really nervous about that offensive line. I'm nervous about what the defensive line is going to be able to do up front. And that's, I think, going to be the reason why TCU wins this game. Now, the thing that I caution people is that if they lose this game, please do not turn on the season. Do not say that the season is over, that we're not going to games. No, you should still go to games. This is the second toughest game, I think, on the schedule for Carolina this year, especially with the fact of where you play them on in your schedule, which is the first game with your group together. I think this team will get better as the year goes along. And so as much as it pains me, I do think that TCU does end up winning this game.
Unfortunately, I got to go with you, Pags. I think the smart thing is to do that. And I love everything you just said there, right? Like, a loss in this game, in game one, is not a referendum on this team or this coaching staff or the season. It's just, it takes a lot to get a team going. And with everything the schedule has in front of it, there's a lot of possibility there. Very quickly, let's get to our weekend whip around. Let me make sure you know everything that's going on elsewhere in Carolina athletics. Women's soccer won 4-0 on Thursday against UNC Greensboro. They play again Sunday at noon against Wisconsin Milwaukee. Men's soccer won on Thursday 2-0 against Evansville. They're on Labor Day at College of Charleston, 6 p.m., and that'll be great there. Field hockey gets going this weekend for the first time. They're number 2 preseason behind only Northwestern. The ACC Big Ten Challenge Friday today. They are in Iowa City where they'll play number 7 Michigan. That's 1 p.m. Eastern on Big 10 Plus. And then Sunday against number 15 Iowa, again in Iowa City, 2 p.m. Eastern, also on Big 10 Plus. Volleyball gets underway in Conway, South Carolina. They play Maryland tomorrow, Saturday at 1 p.m. And then in Conway, they'll be playing Coastal Carolina on Sunday, also at 1 p.m. Cross country runs for the first time. It's probably already happened as you listen to or watch this, and that is the Charlotte opener. So there you go. We'll have recaps from all that on Monday. Monday show, we'll do some more prep for the game. Obviously, Monday night is going to be late, but we're going to be live on YouTube because we got to unpack it all as Pags and Marlo are driving home from the game. Again, as always, make sure you go check out all the great work of the Heel Tough blog and everything that Pags has going on over there, man. It's such great content, and he'll have you ready for this game and the whole season long. If you've not subscribed to Locked On Tar Heels on video and audio, make sure you do that so you don't miss a second. If you haven't joined the Locked On Tar Heels Discord chat or our Insiders program, if you want to go next level, those links are in the show notes as well. You guys, it's always a great day to be a Tar Heel. We'll talk again on Monday, but until then, peace.